So for those that I guess haven't been or haven't heard, we've left Nigeria.
Fantastic.
Hi guys.
He's white.
I hate her.
How am I here? The coffee is meant to be black.
It's not meant to be black.
It's meant to be black.
It's not meant to be able to see your face.
Okay,
we can't push it down.
No problem.
Hi guys, hope you guys can hear me.
Alright, if you can hear us clearly,
she was aware, but you did not call me.
See, that was the phone call.
That was the call.
That was the call.
Because
that was the clarion call. In fact, El Shaka, you should have sensed this in the spirit. Let's be frank. Shakati Bobo, you should have sensed this in the spirit. Alright, fantastic. So we're fantastic. Great to see you all. I think this is like maybe the second or third time I and Jemima are doing a live together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, no, we did one live one time like that. I don't think. Anyway, yeah, we're not going to take up too much time today.
We'll try not to.
We'll try not to. All right, fantastic. So we have some exciting news to share.
Why am I hot? Because it's not hot, but yeah.
We have some exciting news to share. Yay to us. Some people are aware, some people are not, but this is like maybe the first time speaking publicly about this. But we're going to give a little backstory about our journey, and which will bring us to where we are presently. So backstory, I think.
So I think we should start at the end and then.
Okay, start at the end. So what's the ending?
So for those that I guess haven't been or haven't heard, we've left Nigeria. That's the end. We've left Nigeria, we've moved. And
then we'll track back. So from very beginning, I think when we got married 2019, soon our court wedding was.
Yes.
Then our white wedding was January of 2020. And I think for us, we had been trying to figure out where God was taking us to as a couple. Where we are. And somewhere along the line, we're joining the community, KC community. We've been a very big part of the community, etc. Kingdom community. People say, "Wow, really?" People at first knew.
Say where? We will not be distracted.
We will not be distracted. All right, fantastic. So we I think the very first time we'd gone for a prayer walk for Nigeria on behalf of Nigeria. And we seen one of our big aunties. Let's call her big auntie.
Our big aunties.
And she said to us, she literally just prophesied to us, that the Lord was calling us a moving couple,
basically, or a moving family.
A moving family.
And that that the Lord had given Matthew the gift of sight and given me the gift of sound.
Yeah.
And so the Lord will be sending us to different places. Different towns, cities, countries, and nations basically, and we would just go and we would release what we have basically into the nation and be there for as long as He tells us to be there. So shortly after that,
afterwards, I think I just changed jobs.
Yes,
actually, I moved from advertising into tech. And my account balance was hot. Everything was nice and hunky dory. Until one day the Lord asked me, did I tell you to take the job?
Exactly. That job brought pain.
It brought so much anxiety. You understand? When they're paying you well in Lagos, but they want your blood in return.
Exactly.
That was what was happening.
Because the Lord had given Matthew an instruction that for any decision you have to make, ask me first. And this one, I think it moved so fast. So we're like,
this has to be God.
Because, the job it was in before, not paying on time, the struggle was real, So he moved into that job.
Okay.
It was not great. And, the Lord was,
So I was there for like 6 months. It's funny that it's even Inni, she had I was processing leaving the job. And funny, Inni had a dream where
actually had a dream.
I think the world was ending, but I was on my laptop and I didn't know the world was ending.
Like, you were so engrossed with work. There was so much going on. I remember I actually forgot that dream, but now that you mentioned it, everything, like there was chaos around you, but you were so engrossed in your work that you didn't even realize that this was what was going on. So, to cut a long story short, you know, eventually
I quit.
So, you know,
my
he
job.
quit.
And I went from earning a fantastic, I won't mention the amount,
But it was good.
but it was good, let me put it like that, to be earning 90,000 naira, if I remember correctly.
Yes, yes, you started doing like social media.
And they'll pay me 90k. And then after that, you know, I believe February 15th.
I know the thing with like prophecies and stuff like that. So the Lord is sending you to nations. He's doing all of that. You know, Port Harcourt, which was our move, our first move. Port Harcourt was not really what we had in mind. And to be honestly,
so I think February 15th, the Lord said, "Move. You guys should move to Port Harcourt." Those for my wife knew, but I hated Port Harcourt, even though she was from
both of us,
there.
even me, that I grew up in Port Harcourt before moving to the UK. I did not like. I used to call Port Harcourt my village. So
for me, it was just, but he said to me, "You guys should move to Port Harcourt." And just as I was in the process of arguing with the Lord, Jemima comes from the bedroom and she says, "I feel the Lord is saying that we should move to Port Harcourt."
And there was an opportunity for us to build, basically. And we were thinking, okay, maybe we'll do the building project from Lagos. But then when we looked at it, we said, we're going to pay rent, for like another year. What's the point? Why don't we just...
Yep. So what basically...
I need to stop looking at Ini's comments.
So in 2 weeks, we got the word on February 15th. We even missed that crucial part. I was even going to renew the rent half of the year. I was going to pay 6 months for the rent, and then we're going to move afterwards. But then I was on a prayer call with my friend Jennifer Pierce, shout out to Jennifer. And she was like, nobody knew we were moving. And she was like, yo, the Lord says don't renew your rent, move. And so we packed up our stuff. So we heard from the Lord February 15th. And
by the end of February, we had actually moved to Port Harcourt.
We sold our car, we moved to Port Harcourt.
And that was, I think we had actually shared this before on Jesus in the Real.
Yeah.
But like that was a tough transition. Is always hard. It was a really tough transition.
We basically moved into an uncompleted building.
Yes, we were building around us, uncompleted building.
We're in an uncompleted building.
In one room had, in fact, the window, half of the window, no nets, so mosquito up here. Just know that it was
for
a
like
process.
2 months. It was a process.
I know the interesting thing is that it was really tough in the beginning, but after a while, like after a year, God was like, "You guys have actually become comfortable here." Because
so we had grown comfortable with Port Harcourt. I'd even said Lagos. I can't return back to that ghetto. The traffic. I can't come back to ghetto. Only for us to be told that February of 2022.
No. We got pregnant with our first son.
Yes, in September.
And so we had been praying about Brazil. We had been praying about...
I didn't announce where we were going to
Brazil.
We've been praying about the nation.
Been praying about Brazil. Been praying about Brazil. They don't know me. Been praying about Brazil for Hi, David.
Okay.
For a while, although it was first of all his idea.
Yeah.
He was like, he thinks that we should give birth to our first child in Brazil. And I was like, Brazil, okay. Is that not cartel? Is that not cartel? Is that not drugs? The thing, that's the power of media. Because I was thinking Mexico, and Mexico has all these shows about the cartel and all the drugs, stuff like that. So I was just like, Brazil and Mexico, what's the difference? Like, I was like, nope, I'm not going there.
Shout out to you, me. You've been pregnant 3 times, so I don't know what you're talking about. My bro got you pregnant 3 times. If we're talking out there, let's focus anyway.
So I was very adamant that it has to be the big 3: UK, US, Canada. I was still very much in that mind frame. I don't even think I'd asked the Lord about where we are going. I didn't ask the Lord anything. I was not interested, to be honest. So we had been praying about that, and Matthew was still trying to get me on board. And I think one day I just really had peace about it.
No, this is what you're missing a crucial part. I was sleeping. Jemima woke me up in the middle of the night, like if she was Batman, and she said, "Yo, I have peace about this." And we're like, "Okay, no problem."
Yeah.
And so we applied.
Yes.
And then we had received prophecies. We had dreams about moving to this country.
Everything.
And I remember I was in Benin on a crusade. when this happened. Jemima was in Lagos, I was in Benin on the crusade. And Jemima calls me and she's like, yo, what's up? I was like, what? She's like, yo, they rejected us. And I remember I almost dropped the phone.
I remember, yeah, so he was in Benin at the crusade and I had come to Lagos for the interview, everything. And I remember just, checking. I don't know, so anyways, good I checked. And I saw the big X. The X was so big.
Yeah.
Big, red, bright X. Like, on the, you could track your progress. So there's a big X. And I was just like, and I remember I sent it to my sister, actually. I sent it to Rume. I don't know if it's still on. I sent it to Rume. I remember I was like, because even she was like, wow, what's it? So she was just like, okay, let's still hear. Let's see what they say. Let's still just... by the next day, they were like, oh, come and pick up your passport. And in my mind, I was like, if I just had an interview and they're telling me to come and pick up my passport, I highly doubt it. So, I went to
the funny
pick
part,
it
when
up.
Jemima called me, I was like, I'm not
waited.
going to see it. Because she wanted me to focus. But when she told me, she told me right before I was going to do some deliverance for people. So I was delivering people with anger. I'm like, every demon that encountered me down there, they had it hot in my hand. I was using vexation to deliver people. I was in pains. And so it was real.
So we moved on from that. But the thing is, we knew that we were supposed to move. We knew that actually, even when I came back to Port Harcourt and he came back from Benin, and we prayed about it. He was very pained because this has been his baby, But for me, I was just like, the Lord is still called. We still have things to do in Nigeria anyway, so it's fine, all of that. So we came back and we prayed about it, and we knew that we were moving. And
we knew that our time was up in Port Harcourt.
We even wanted to go. Yes, we knew our time was up in Port Harcourt. We wanted to go to Abuja because I was like, I don't want to go back to Lagos. Please, I don't want to go back to Stress City. Like, please, Lord, Abuja. But after prayer and everything.
And so, I was like, Lord, I'm going to trust you with my disappointments. I think that was a very big crossing point for us. I was like, I'm going to trust you with my disappointment, and I'm going to continue to serve because I know that you have our best interests at heart. And so the Lord was like, okay, you guys should move to Lagos. And so when we moved to Lagos, the Lord was like, don't take anything with you from Port Harcourt.
Yes, actually.
And so when we were leaving Port Harcourt, we left Port Harcourt with only 2 suitcases.
Yes.
And Jemima's guitar.
Yes, 2 suitcases, like hand luggage.
Two hand luggages.
1 suitcase, which was filled with my wedding dress. I don't know why my wedding dress is following me everywhere, but yeah, it had my wedding dress and like some equipment, and then and so we were staying with a friend for some months. That wasn't fun because I was getting closer to my due date.
I think at that time you were like 8 months. No, so you're like 7.5 months.
Yeah, like 7 months. So me, I was even thinking, I was like, it's even too late for me to go back to Port Harcourt. I cannot
fly back.
They won't take me. Like, so what's going on, Lord? We can't come and burn.
And so we'd gone to almost like 14, 15 houses at this junction.
We had seen so many houses. Like, it was like a full-time job. Every day in the morning.
We'll drive. In fact, there was a time back,
God bless our friend Oyinda. She gave us a car.
Yeah.
We'd use her car in the morning to drive to see houses, and then she'd go to work with it like around.
I think there was a time that we were driven to Dolphin. We found the house before we would move in, and we were waiting for like almost 2 hours. Then the agent calls us like, he's having an argument with the lawyer for the houses, and they can't settle themselves. Therefore, the house is no longer in the market. And so after making us drive, it was just a crazy experience, and I was so upset that day. I think about maybe 3 weeks later, we saw a house, and as we're looking at the house, we're like, okay, we'll take this house, because at this time we're just exhausted by the whole thing. And as we're there, the landlord, the agent was talking to the landlord, and the landlord said like, someone's just paying for the house.
Someone's just paying, yeah. And so we had another appointment which we would have cancelled, but then because of the first agent that we saw moved the time, so I reached out to the guy. I was like, okay, we have this free time, let's come to the house. So we went to the house, saw the house, and then as we were leaving, he just asked us. He was like, oh wow, so you guys, why did you move back from Port Harcourt? And to be honest, we usually just tell people that, oh, we had like a project we were working on there, and it was time to come back. But I think Matthew was just led to
the Holy Spirit was like, yo, tell him why.
Like, tell him really that the Lord asked you to move, like explicitly.
So I told him, because I said, because God asked us to move. and he's an older Yoruba gentleman. He started to
Weep.
That's the English. He started to cry. Weep. I'd never seen such a thing before.
Yeah,
I was so shocked.
He was really emotional.
I was so shocked. And I think as this happened, he now asked us to pray for him and his family. I believe he wanted him and his wife had been trying to get pregnant for like 8 years or so. And so we prayed with him. And as soon as we began to pray, I literally saw an angel coming, holding a child, holding a baby, and I saw the angel hold the baby and then hand it over to the man. And so I knew that all the delay and all the disappointment we had faced in terms of looking for a house was because we needed to meet this one man.
Yeah, actually. And I think as we go along in the story, you will understand the timing as well of us.
Of the delay.
Yes.
And one thing I learned from this whole thing is that now let me use pidgin.
God.
Now only God knows what they do. Okay.
So we move in like just I think a couple of weeks before I give birth.
So we moved in like May.
Yes.
Yeah, we moved in like May.
Yes, we moved in about May.
And we've been in Lagos since February.
Yes, we've been in Lagos.
Since February, since the end of February.
Or March, sorry. Actually, March, yeah.
March, April.
So,
Yeah, we've
so
been in
about
Lagos
3
since
months.
March. Yeah, so we've been about 3 months looking for a house. It was crazy.
So we move.
And we moved.
We can't share the rest without
our good friends.
Without,
okay, let's move.
Without, yeah.
Okay.
There's no way. So, yeah. So basically, I'm also here to give birth to my second child. So yes, I am with child and carrying, because there's no way that we can share.
You can tell the full story
because we now had this surprise pregnancy.
Surprise pregnancy. I don't know why you're looking at me. It took 2 people.
I blame him. Surprise pregnancy.
We have our first child. He's sleeping now.
Yeah.
And we're expecting
surprise pregnancy, and so we were like, okay, should we try for Brazil again?
So we felt like we sort of got the lead in to just. So what happened prior to this was this: in September, the Lord sort of reached out to me. Not when we say reach out, like I said now.
He reached out to you.
So in September, God started speaking to me about Brazil, and He said to me,
yes, actually.
Yeah, He began to speak to me about Brazil, and He said to me, "What do you know why there was a disappointment the first time around?" And I was like, "No." He said for 2 reasons. One, I wanted your first child to be born in Nigeria. But 2, the disappointment came because
Thank you, Ini.
Thank you so much.
No, she said James though. Thank you, Ini.
Ini, you want to talk?
Yes, sir.
What Ini says was the wife not having sex. it's you now.
Please, which one is surprise pregnancy?
It was a surprise pregnancy because it was not a planned pregnancy.
We were being careful.
So for this baby to come, the baby was a surprise to everybody. Even if I say Jesus, not a surprise, it was a surprise Jesus also. Okay, so the Lord began to speak to me about Brazil in September, and He says, I needed your first child to be born in Brazil. But most importantly, He said to us that I wanted to see your hearts, basically. I wanted to see if God was still good. I wanted to see if I would still be good to you. And so I found that it's very easy to trust God when things seem to be going well, when things have all worked out, when it's all nice and hunky-dory. And it's very easy to abandon God when you feel God has disappointed you, when things haven't worked out as you say as they were. But fortunately, Esther, I see you coming up right behind me. Don't let me prophesy pregnancy to you.
Esther, you are not.
Because I know
Esther.
I know El Shaka.
Esther.
See the name.
Esther, be careful.
Don't involve yourself.
Because your own.
It's only sorry will tell you. Anyway, so as I just realized the Lord just wanted us to see our hearts and see if we would still find Him faithful despite our disappointment. And so after that, we received the instruction to reapply for Brazil. And so, but this time He gave us, I think, a better understanding of why we would be going to Brazil.
Yes, I think, to be honest, this time was really different from the first time. He told us to be quiet about it. We didn't really ask. The last time, we rallied around to try and get money, stuff like that, and he was just like, I think it was just a couple of people actually that even sent us money to put in our accounts. even like someone that had sent before, we couldn't even use the money, we had to return it. Like we literally had like a fraction of what we had the first
We had
time.
less
We had much less.
than what we had the first time when we were planning to move.
So we didn't. In fact, we didn't. The way we packaged ourselves the first time, we did not. The way we packaged ourselves the first time, we didn't even package ourselves. It was like, this is what we have, you know, the little we have, and this is what we can, should I say, bring, quote unquote, bring to the table.
Yeah.
And then even with getting Caleb Nazir's passport, actually, that was also like very miraculous, because getting passports now is Matthew and
So I had to fly.
They had to fly.
I had to fly with a 5 months.
It was 5 months
It was
old.
5 months. I had to fly from Lagos to Abuja. Just me and him. 5 months old to Abuja. We were in Abuja for like 2 days, or 3 days.
About 3 days.
About
yeah.
3 days.
So they had to, and guys, like, if you're married and your husband is flying with your child, just be ready. They interviewed me.
They called Jemima. What did they asked for his birth certificate.
They asked his birth weight.
They asked his birth weight.
They were asking me questions.
They
Like,
wanted to be sure that
they
I
wanted
hadn't
to-
kidnapped.
Exactly. They video called me. They interviewed me at every stage.
Like at some point at the airport, I had DSS questioning me, EFCC, NDLEA, customs,
Asking
and
for-
even airports. All of them gathered to question me.
Where is the mother? Why didn't she come? And I'm like, but he's the father. He can. So thankfully, you know, we had all our paper. He had our marriage certificate to show that we were married, all of that. So thankfully, we actually got his passport really quick compared to like the long queues that we've been seeing. So you know, that was a miracle. In fact, to be honest, we were a bit sloppy this time. To be honest, we didn't even apply as quickly as we should have. You know, because we're also overwhelmed. We have like a new baby and all of that. So this time, in all honesty, was not, we were not as well prepared as the first time. We were not as well packaged. Yes, we were even broke. We're not as well packaged. We're not as well prepared as the first time. So we started that journey, and the wait was gruesome.
Because here's the thing, as we're waiting, our rent is about to expire.
Our rent is about
so
to
we
expire.
wanted to know if they're going to give us the visa or if we need to renew our rent, stuff like that. And here's the funny part. Throughout the entire process, God was like, yo, just
trust, just wait. So we applied online in December, and we
didn't get the visa till like April.
we applied online in December. Then we submitted our documents. They said, oh, they've changed something. We had to come back. The next appointment was like 2 weeks. We're like, time is going. So like we submitted our documents like end of January-ish. And then in February or March? End of February, they reached out to us that, since the dates that you put have passed, you have to send us, you have to reapply, send us account statements and all of that for this period. And we're like, we had emptied our accounts. We're like, how do these people? Anyway, somehow we managed to do that. We sent everything. We waited till, when was this? Like, we booked our Airbnb
We
in
paid
faith.
for our Airbnb in faith. We didn't have visa. We
didn't have visa.
We paid for Airbnb. We don't have
We
visa.
saw a place that we liked and we're like, God, should we do this? And he was like, okay. He was like, yeah.
So we paid.
We paid for
I remember
Airbnb.
when I saw the money leave my account, my chest was paining me for like a straight half hour. I was like,
And the day that, because with Airbnb, you can cancel for free, well, you get a full refund up to a month before you travel. So the day that I was supposed to cancel,
the day that we're going to cancel the Airbnb.
I checked in the morning. I checked the track progress thing in the morning. It still said, what's that what's status? What's that thing?
in what's it called?
Under review. Yes.
So Jemima checks our visa.
I checked in the morning and it still said under review. So by evening I was like, okay, by tonight I have to cancel this Airbnb
so
unless
give us our money back.
they are going to take all our money. So I said, let me just check like one more time before I cancel this Airbnb. See, I saw green. I saw
Approved.
like this.
The day of cancellation.
I saw approved. If you see the way I jumped from bed because I thought I was seeing things. I was like, ma. I was like, look, just look at it, because I was like, so yes, approved, and I think by the next week then it was ready for delivery, and they called us to get Yeah, they called us. They called us
to pick up our visas.
To pick up our visas. And in this time, I'm about to expose you all. Sorry. In this time, we received some guests from the abroad.
From the abroad.
We received some guests from the abroad, who were
good friends
who were looking for a place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Looking for a place to stay. They were not sure how long they were going to be in Nigeria, but their instruction was that you are not. Yeah, his instruction was that you're not going back to say guests.
So our friends relocated. So God had sent them the previous year to another country, and so this year they had come back.
Yes.
And then God had sent them come back to Nigeria, and so they ended up staying at our place. And so here's the thing. Now, here's why this. I want to speak about the intentionality of God now. Now I want to take it back.
So when we were looking for
we're looking for a house sometime in March, we didn't get a house until May.
So when we first got married and we were looking for a house, we found a house that same day.
Yeah.
So I remember we were like, God, we need this kind of miracle. We want to find a house same day, same week type thing. And we came in March. So if God had given us that house in March, we would have been, first of all, these are our guests. They are vexing because we call them guests. These are our guests.
Our honored friends.
Our siblings. If we would have actually missed the timing of them coming back, because they came back in April, we would have had to pack everything. In fact, packing up the whole house, all of that, would have had to pack everything. And then maybe we would have looked for a short let or would have maybe then paid for like a full year somewhere else.
So so we came to Lagos ending of February, early March. We looked for a house for 3 months.
Yeah.
We got the house in May. Following 2023, in the process of waiting for the visa, our rent is counting down.
Yeah.
And they've already sent me
They sent letter April 30th.
April 30th. Oh yeah, you guys need to pay up and move out. And during this period, like the week after they sent this letter to us, our honored friends, our revered friends from the great abroad who came as God led them, they came back to Nigeria and they came to our place. And so somehow within the conversation, we just realized that they were meant to move into our place. I think it was Jemima that even caught the revelation first. She's like, yo, you guys, since you're in Nigeria, instead of you having to look around and pay rent elsewhere, you guys should take over this place. And 2, there's no need for you to buy any stuff.
Yes, because we were thinking of.
So if we had gotten the visa earlier, we would have had to sell
half of the things from them.
Yes, so Holy Spirit, which is funny because half the things in the house we'd actually bought half from them when we first moved in anyway. So it's just exchange. It was just going round and round. So Holy Spirit was like, yo, they should take over the house, renew the rent, and then don't sell anything in the house.
Yeah, don't sell anything. Leave everything for them.
Yes, so the only thing we were allowed to sell was our car, but everything else we left in the house with them. So
when we mentioned it to them, they were like, that they've even been planning on asking us that, is this a possibility?
Yeah.
You know, and it really worked out for them because they didn't have to pay any extra charges.
They didn't have to pay all those crazies. What did they call all those?
The agency, lawyer, caution,
all those excesses.
Yeah.
So if they had to pay that for a house, they would have had to pay at least an extra 2 million more to cover that cost. Yeah. But they just paid just the rent for the place. And so the timing, God is so intentional.
It was incredible for us. It was incredible for them. They're coming back and they're not sure where they're going to stay, and then suddenly they have a place to stay that is fully furnished.
Fully furnished.
You
don't see fully furnished house in Nigeria, man. We even saw the house today. They even beautified it.
We called them today. The house is not even looking finer than
when we
were there. They put big mirror. They put painting.
Anyway,
I'm looking at you.
Anyway, so anyway, we come to.
So we get.
Okay, so coming to now where we are now.
We get our visa. We finally get our visa. Did we have the car? To be honest, we got our visa, but we didn't have money to do anything.
We didn't have money to do anything else. Just that. As the day I picked up the visa, was the day that the ticket cost of our
went
up.
Wow.
So when I sold the car, I had gotten the visa. The ticket was the amount The day, but as soon as I checked it that night, let's see how we can pay. The ticket had gone up by 600,000 or 700,000.
So annoying. But let's just say the thing is, I mean, when God is sending you someone, He'll provide. So we're able to buy our tickets. We had what?
No, after we bought the ticket, we don't broke. Let's just put that out first.
To be honest,
we don't broke.
Yeah.
You understand? So we bought the ticket. Now we and God just look everybody. Me and God, I look at God, they look near everybody else they go.
So we needed money to buy many things.
We needed money to buy many things, but so God had provided. He'd send some people. Hey, just hold this, and we just get support here and there. And some things would happen.
Right, we needed like little things like we wanted hard case boxes. Our friends that just moved from their board gave us all their hard case boxes. They gave us, because the where they were coming from was really cold. They gave us so many winter things for Caleb Nazir, for baby that's coming, even for us. God, So they were just they gave us a portable heater. They were just like, we're not going to use these things. We're back in the heat. You guys are going to cold. So they gave us so many things to help us, like with the cold weather.
So it was, God was just showing His intentionality with us during that period. And so we get on. So this is the funny part now. And so to give context to this, one of the reasons why God was sending us to this nation is because giving birth to a child here is just a secondary thing. The real reason why we're here is because God had called us a missionary couple, a prophetic couple, and He had spoken to an apostolic couple, and He had spoken to us extensively about the work that we'll do in the country that we're in presently. And one of them was to teach about intimacy, which is what I currently do, but also to deal with the spirit of religion, which is something that we battle with in Nigeria, the spirit of idol worship. I'd had several dreams about the people of this nation worshiping idols, and so God spoke to me very strongly and instinctively about this, and this is the necessity of our move. And we said, okay, and He was just letting us that the baby is just a byproduct. And so the devil was trying to show us that, I'm ready for you guys. And so our friend sent us the car. Our car. First of all, the driver left their place on the mainland at 7 a.m. He didn't get to us till like
I think
1 in the afternoon. That's almost 6 hours on the road. And so we get on the road and we told this guy, we're going to international airport. I say like 4 or 5 times or 3 or 4 times, whatever the case is. And I'm on my phone, I'm trying to make a conversation with someone. And I find that, and I look up, he's driving us into the domestic wing of the airport.
And I kept asking him, I said, oh God, this route you're taking, no. He said, no, not the right route. And I was like, because Marv told him international airport so many times. And, he was so all of that like took a chunk of time. Because, Nigeria is blessed and highly favored.
Lagos is blessed and highly favored traffic.
So that took a chunk of our time. So we finally used Google Maps to get to
find a new route back to the airport.
But I'll be honest with you, like from the moment that's because it didn't make sense. Because he kept saying, it was not, okay. I was like, but we said it so many times. He said, I don't know that place. So I was like, if not that, I was in the car. I heard Matthew say this thing a number of times. So that took a chunk of. Once that started, to be honest, I said they have started. Because this thing that just happened does not make any sense. And I said they have started. We get to the airport and they're harassing. Yes, we had a lot of, luggage. So we had to deal with,
the luggage and everything.
But then they start harassing us for PCR tests.
When we know for a fact
it has been cancelled.
It has been cancelled for Brazil.
They brought one big book. It's still here. PCR test, so they held us up for that. And in Qatar, they didn't ask us for any PCR test or COVID. When we got to Brazil, they didn't ask us for any PCR. The thing is, we knew, and it's even a known fact that these things have been cancelled.
But they weren't willing to allow us. They
were not willing to allow us pass.
We ended up paying.
How much?
I didn't have anybody.
We didn't have Naira. So shout out to all our helpers.
Shout out to you.
Because we didn't have Naira. We just had like small change. Shout out to all our helpers.
Eventually I had to pay 50k for the PCR test. We had done a fit to fly with our doctor and everything. They now forced us to pay for another test. First of all, they almost made us miss our flight because they said there's no doctor on ground.
They said there's no doctor to do the fit to fly. And I'm like, okay, but I have like my doctor's report. They're like, they won't let you fly, and the gate is about to close, bro. Marv had to raise up the heat a notch.
Simple like that.
But when I saw all of this happen, I just knew, and I told myself, I said, we're getting on this flight. We're getting on this flight. Don't worry, we're getting on this flight because they're trying.
After all that, we have to be joking. Like if you've ever flown out of this country, there are like 50 checkpoints before you get to where you're going.
Terminal 2, the brand new airport. Qatar does not fly. The big planes can't fly from there. So we still had to go all the way to Terminal 1. Terminal 1 was blocked. We couldn't even go there. So imagine me with the push chair with my son, and Matthew is carrying bags, and me with my big heavy belly. I'm racing, walking for my life to catch the flight. Anyway, last, should we're we made it. We made it, and we thank God. It's been a long journey. We had about 19 hours layover. We decided to break up the trip.
We had 8 hours to Doha.
8 hours to Doha. 19 hours. Stayed in the hotel in the airport, and then 16 hours to Sao Paulo. But I think the point of it is that we made it. We're here. We've been here for a week because there's been a lot of transitioning, especially for Caleb Nazir. It has been tough. But he's settled. He's actually settled now. So.
Okay. So the transition has been there. We they don't speak English. I think that's one of the major culture shocks for us.
We're learning.
We're trying to learn Portuguese. What's this?
We're learning Portuguese.
Is it still morning? It's still morning.
It's still morning. So
that's what.
Bom dia.
Tudo bem? Tudo bem? So we're learning Portuguese. We're trying to learn Portuguese because nobody speaks English here at all.
Very
few.
Very few.
So we've been navigating with
Google Translate
and many pointing. So we've been pointing. Demonstration. So we've been learning. So it's a journey. It's a process. So now we currently live in the
How's the time zone? We are 4 hours. We're 4 hours, so it's almost 11 here.
So
we are 4 hours behind Nigeria. So I don't know if that's EST. I think if EST is 5 hours.
All I know is I sleep. They catch me at all times of the day because my body is still wired to Nigeria time. And so another thing that was crazy was that because we're in the winter time now.
Yeah, so it's kind of cold.
So it's cold. Summer doesn't start till November.
Yeah,
so it's the winter time now. So October, November, that's when summer starts. So it's winter time now. So we are. What's the word? We're trying to keep warm. Drink, plenty coffees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But God has been faithful. God has been merciful. The first few days were tough, because we're trying to navigate.
See, guys, transition is never easy. But just know that. And I think one thing that, because I was crying every day because I was overwhelmed. In Nigeria, you have help, like it or not. You have help. You have either. I had my mom. My mom couldn't come with us, so I had my mom, and I had a help as well. So just being heavily pregnant. Just both of us with, my son who was really struggling to adjust initially the first few days, being extremely cranky, clingy, not sleeping well, all them things. Yes, I didn't care. Summer is a Christmas period, basically. Yeah. So dealing with all of that, I was really, really overwhelmed. I know that, he was trying, at some point he felt sick, really trying. But I think one thing that, the Holy Spirit can be a bit of he can carry cane, and he just told me, he said, you have to do more praying and less crying. And I was like, instead of you to be,
you know, you pet me.
Pet me is you have to do. And in all honesty, when he's of course he's right. He's always right. When I did, I always felt better, and I always feel better when I pray, as opposed to weeping and make my woe betide me. No.
This morning, the Holy Spirit called me a broke man this morning. So.
And in all honesty, God has been really, really faithful. God has been faithful, and I'm not. I don't take for granted that really this is what we prayed for, and we're actually really, really grateful. It's just that we haven't been able to do much exploring, but so far we're enjoying the city, and I think we're just settling in till we find community, and till we begin to do the work. Baby will come at some point till we begin to do the work that the Lord has
put in store for us.
So for anybody going through transition as well, more praying, less crying, right?
We hope
crying makes you feel better, but it's not as effective as prayer. As we began to pray together as well, because these things can put a strain on your marriage. I mean, we're just focused on my son, so even both of us realized that there was a slight strain on our marriage as well. So more praying, less crying. Prayer is actually powerful. Like, I feel anytime I pray, I feel so much better. I feel strengthened. I feel,
So we're in the process of just trying to build community, learn to have connections. Is that?
Yes, okay.
Have connections, etc., that sort of thing. So as we're in a foreign country now, a lot of for people that know me, people that don't know me, I think it's Adenike that first pointed it out to me. I remember sometime last year, I think Adenike was part of a RISE class. We just graduated, we'd gone out for lunch or dinner, whatever the case is, I can't remember. And she was talking to somebody else. And she was like, you're not like them who are in full-time ministry, they don't have a job. And I looked around, like, she can't possibly be talking about me. I don't know if she knows this or she remembers it, but I remember it clearly because I'd been fighting the ministry tag for so long. And it wasn't a tag, it wasn't a tag that I necessarily wanted. My wife knows that I'd avoided the titles for so long. In fact, initially, I wasn't even comfortable with putting the word prophet on my Instagram handle. It wasn't until the Lord came to me one day. He said, what are you doing? This is part of your identity. Why are you hiding yourself? You understand? And so just before we came to Nigeria, left Nigeria, I think, the Lord had told me that I'd moved into a new spiritual season. And Inilea, shout out to you, Mother of Nations, she had sort of prophesied this in season, and when the Lord had shifted me into a new prophetic season where I'll be doing more pastoral work and not just prophetic work. God, I can't believe I said that publicly, live, but Matthew's to my name. It's been a journey, a process of just adjusting. And so we don't typically work a 9 to 5. And so I think throughout the course of this journey, what we're asking for is that, people who love to support us on our journey, as we're here, as we're doing the Lord's work.
In any way that you're led.
In any way that you're led. Physically, spiritually, emotionally,
intellectually, financially, socially.
In fact, AB was one of the first people, because I think she was in the first RISE. I was talking to me about pastoral work, and I was like, "Yo, man, that ain't for me." So
AB, you're a natural pastor.
AB is a natural pastor.
AB is a natural pastor.
As I'm running for him, because pastor, what people don't know, pastor is a lot of work. People forget. People love the sexy title, but it's a lot of work, and God holds you accountable to it. And I think I've been running away from that, from being accountable, not just for people, but also to God on behalf of people. Okay, how do we give? Yes, so if you check the link in my bio, there's a link there, support Matthew and Jem in Brazil. So we now, for those of us who are just joining, we now live in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And we're trying to learn the language. So if you'd like to support, you can check the link in our bio. No matter how small or little it is, I believe you're sowing into something that God is doing.
Femi say, really, how? Anyway.
Okay. So check the link in our bio. As much support as we can get here is possible. That's, so we're looking, I think, if you check the link in the bio, you see more information. We're hoping for,
just, you can support in any way you can. I think there'll be more details. Someone asked, yes, we'll post it to Matthew's page.
Yes, we'll post it to
I'll see if I can post to YouTube as well, because that's really where I'm not really on Instagram. I'm mostly on YouTube. Thank you, AB. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for everyone that joined. We didn't think I don't know. You know your people. I didn't think we'd get this many people on at this time.
Whatever the case is, we're grateful.
Amen.
If you'd like to support, check the link in our bio. And for anybody who's going through a season of transition, or you're dealing with disappointment with God, I think the prayer that I prayed at the time of my own particular disappointment was, God, help me to trust you with my disappointment. And if you're going through transitions, God is able and is capable, and He has your back if you trust Him to have your back. And I think that's one of the most important things. You need to trust God to have your back, and not just complain.
Yeah.
Listen, pray more than you complain. And like Jemima said, pray more than you cry. Put it like that.
And I think just with obedience can really be, because I think now that we've come here, like we found like the closest health center to us is like 2 minutes walk. I mean, when God showed me, like when I was picking this place and I felt like, okay, this was the place, I think I only picked it because it had a nice room for Caleb Nazira. That's even why I picked it. But coming here now, we've seen that it's close to
a lot of places.
We didn't even mention Ezekiel and how.
So we missed out a major part of the story. So when
we shout out
to
they probably will see it.
They won't say it, but shout out
their
to
family.
Their family will see it. Shout out to
our guests. Our honored friends.
Our honored friends. Their brother-in-law is actually in Brazil, Sao Paulo. And here's the thing: we applied for our visas the same time,
around the same time,
but they got it and we didn't. And so, just the fact of him coming to pick us up at the airport,
like we literally just connected. It's not like we know each other. We literally just connected.
Or we had a prior relationship,
and they were so helpful. Came to pick from the airport, like gotten us SIM cards. Helped with I think there's a registration, you have to do CPF registration. Even helped to get us plantain like pepper, and we just pass by and drop things like literally actually been so helpful.
Because really, we genuinely did not know anybody in this country.
Nobody.
Not a single soul. And so for God just to connect us like that was just amazing to have them here for us, and they've been super helpful to us, to be honest.
So I think the thing is, you may not always see the big picture, or you may not always see like every single thing put in place, but as you take one step after the other, you'll just be like, God, wow. You'll just be looking around like, wow. So
all right, fantastic. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys.
It's been an hour.
Yes. This boy is still sleeping. We're so grateful.
Our landlord, who were watching on the camera, so wake up.
You'll probably soon wake up.
We need to do what we can before he arises from his
slumber. That's the life. We're running to do all the small work we can do now before he wakes up. So thank you guys.
All right, fantastic.
Got nothing to know.
All right.
I'm tired all over it. So we'll put more details. Maf will share the live to his page, and there'll be more details on how you can support. Mwah. Thank you guys so much.
I will give you a kiss, but Jem has done it on behalf of both of us. Bye guys.
Ciao. Yes, ciao.